Hello, listeners, and welcome to Brandon Ellrich is So Gay. This is season 1, episode 19. I can't believe I've done 19 of these already. I mean, some people record them like every day, but I just can't imagine that. I mean, I I don't make enough money to do that. I still have to have a freelance writing job on the side. And on that note, if you'd like to support me and help me keep going, please go to my Substack publication and become a paid subscriber. Right now, through the end of June, you can do so for just $40 for an entire year. Or you could do $4 a month, but the yearly thing is the more economical option. So I've been busy lately. Um, I've I've been on several live live podcasts lately. Last week, the end of last week, I was on with um, author Ed Anderson and Karen Marie Shelton. We were talking about the Menendez brothers case. I had just finished watching Monsters, the Netflix series by Ryan Murphy. And since Karen and Ed were talking about this case, they invited me on to give my perspective just based on the Hollywood version. Now, of course, we don't know everything that happened based on that because, as Hollywood usually does, they kind of make their own narrative and show you different sides of things. But it was very interesting to maybe kind of assume that what they were portraying is what actually happened, and that was a lot of fun. I encourage you to go on and watch that episode if you're interested in the Menendez brothers. They're I believe they're up for parole soon. The possibility of parole. It's still to be decided whether or not they will get out. So the original sentence was life in prison without the possibility of parole. And now it's been changed to 50 years to life with the possibility of parole. Anyway, that's been changed recently, so we'll see if they might get out. Anyway, yeah, I also watched a documentary about them where they were being interviewed from the prison. They were recorded phone calls of how they feel about things now, and that was very interesting to compare that to what you hear in the media and what you might have seen on the show Monsters. So anyway, that was pretty interesting. And then this week I was on Wednesday on GenXy with Dana Dubois and Lawrence Winterman. I talked about when I started writing poetry and fiction on WordPress and moving to Medium, starting writing about writing humor pieces and LGBTQ things, then moving into Substack. So that's kind of where I am now. We were talking about Gen X pride and kind of if I had gay icons growing up, if I remembered any from any movies, shows, music, that kind of thing. And we also talked a little bit about the term gay and queer, because when I was growing up, the term gay was used as an insult, pretty much. It could be synonymous with stupid, lame, dumb. Oh, that's so gay. That outfit is so gay. Or if you did something that was stupid or lame, that was referred to as gay. We've kind of taken that word back, at least for the most part. I don't hear that kind of reference anymore. And I thought I should address it on here too because it's in my publication name. Brandon Ellrich is so gay because I think it is a good thing to be gay. I'm glad to be gay. I don't. There was a time in my life, a long time, where I regretted it, wished I wasn't, prayed that I would change, that God would change me or kill me because I just couldn't deal with it. But I finally came to the point of acceptance, and I think it's great to be gay or so gay. Also, I encourage you to check out that episode too. That's on Substack, GenXy, GenXy. Then Thursday, I was on with Walter Rain and Bill Lancy with their Escapist Delights series. Every week they talk about different shows and movies that they're interested in and just discuss those. And they asked me to come on to give my perspective on some LGBTQ plus themed shows, movies, gay characters that are in regular shows and movies. We talked a little bit about Game of Thrones, The Last of Us. It was a fun conversation. I I really enjoyed it. I hope to be back again on their program sometime. But you should check. They're also on Substack. You can check out either of their publications to find the Escapist Delights series. I think I'll try to put that in the publication notes in case you want to refer back to it. So I've been trying to promote my Midwest Pride Tour, which starts next Saturday, the June the 7th. I'm starting in Kansas City, Missouri, going to Kansas City Pride Fest, KC Pride, and I'm going to broadcast live from there. I'm not sure if I'm going to announce all the places I'll be throughout the month of June. I may just leave it as a surprise from week to week, but I am announcing the first one that I'm going to KC Pride. If you want to tune in and see what it's like to celebrate Pride in Kansas City, Missouri, I think it'll be a very interesting experience for some people. My first experience with KC Pride was in 2019. And because Missouri is a red state, you might kind of have some assumptions about that. The conservative nature of rural Midwest America. One thing I was really surprised to see was the freedom that people had there. The lack of clothing, for one thing. I then went to St. Louis Pride, and it was actually slightly more conservative there, at least with the clothing and outfits and skin body exposure. So I'm curious this year. One thing Dana Dubois asked me about was what I expected to see this year compared to other years because of the political climate, it might be there might be some more protests than there have been in the past. I wouldn't be surprised about that. When I've been to Kansas City in the past, I don't remember seeing any protesters at that. And I don't know if there just weren't any or if they were able to kind of subvert them. I don't know, but it was nice not having them there. St. Louis, there were some, I don't know if I would call them protesters. There was a guy outside of the boundaries on a street corner with a megaphone. He wasn't exactly spewing hateful content or anything, but just basically reciting Bible verses from what I remember. But he was doing it with a megaphone, so it was a little intrusive. And the funny thing was, there was a business nearby where he was standing who started playing music very loudly and kind of drowned him out, and he quit shortly after that. So I kudos to the business for doing that. That was pretty cool. I saw a couple other people just standing outside. There was a guy just asking people when they came in or out about if they knew Jesus or God or things like that, And he was a young, very good looking man, and I wonder if they chose him on purpose because uh, I think most gay guys would be happy to stop and talk to him. So yeah, I'm curious to see what it's going to be like this year. I'm hoping that it really hoping that it won't be dangerous, at least, but I'm hoping it would be peaceful overall, that we can go enjoy ourselves at Pride Fest and not have stresses or feel like we're in some kind of danger. That would be really nice. It would be nice to live in the country without feeling like we're in some kind of in danger or threatened with not only our rights but our lives. It would be really nice to live in peace. Sometimes that can't happen in some countries and some climates. We have been fortunate in this country compared to others, at least in recent decades, but that could all change. I don't think people realize how quickly that can change with the addition of new laws, new administrations. Anyway, I don't usually get political in my articles or podcasts, but when something happens, when there's a shift in the country where it might could potentially affect the way I live, that's cause for me to speak up and try to get people to pay attention. If you are an ally, if you know someone who's gay in the LGBTQ plus community, or even if you don't know someone in the community, even if you are just an advocate for humanity, human rights in general, I hope you'll do something to support us. You may not be supporting laws that directly oppose us, but sometimes inaction is just as bad as the opposition. If you sit back and do nothing, then bad things could start happening. Anyway, I don't want to end on a negative note. So I hope you can go to my publication on Substack and check out my live video next Saturday. I plan on going live at 3 p.m. Central Time, and I'm hoping I can get there early and talk to a few vendors. I might, while I'm on the live, I might catch part of a drag show, musical performance. Who knows? Some of it's going to be kind of spontaneous, so I hope you check it out. If you are listening to this from YouTube or Apple Podcasts or something like that, you can go to Substack or just Google Brandon Ellrich is so gay, and the first result, if you click on that, it should take you to at least one of my articles on my publication, and you can subscribe there. I would really appreciate your support. But other than that, yeah, this is kind of a short episode just to promote the Pride Tour and tell you what I've been up to. I hope you've enjoyed my content so far. The last few episodes I've been talking about well, I've talked about masturbation and sex, and I've been talking with my friend Allie I'm going to have her on another couple of episodes in the near future. I don't know if it's going to be during Pride Month or after, but we'll see how that works out, how scheduling and things work out. But I appreciate you listening for today, and until next time, say goodbye, Zach.